And welcome to Cabinet this evening. Apologies for absence, please.
Councillor E. Callaghan and Councillor G. Callaghan.
Thank you. Do we have any declarations of interest other than county councillors? We'll take that on block. Thank you. Anything else? Thank you. Minutes. Do we all agree they're a true record? Thank you. We've got item agenda 4 is Cabinet members' decision records. Councillor Barnes, did you have any questions on that? No? Any councillors? No? Thank you. Our next item is Cabinet member updates. Does anybody have anything of note? Councillor McGowan.
Just a quick one. It's fly tipping fortnight. The council's working in association with Keep Britain Tidy Group. We are doing everything we can to crack down on the scourge that is fly tipping. Councillor Smith will know this, and some of the rest of you will. We had a resident fined £700, just over £700 last week. That's just the start. It is a scourge, like I say. In Basildon, we had about 3,500 complaints last year. But we are asking residents to help us with this. So the old adage is, if it seems too good to be true, it probably is. So if you've been approached by a company to dispose of waste, make sure they are authorised. There's information on the council website to help you do that, because otherwise you could find yourself in trouble. Like I say, it's part of a fortnight of national activity across the nation, and we are working in association with Keep Britain Tidy Group, and there will be more updates to follow.
Any other Cabinet member with a report? No, thank you. We'll then move on to the work programme. Does anybody have anything that they wish to add? No, thank you. We'll therefore move on to item agenda 7, which is the local plan. I'd just like to start really by saying that the assumption is that even if you've not managed to wade through the thousands of pages, including all the enclosures, it is really entertaining and is a lot more fun than many of you might think it is. The presumption is there that you've read the report and that you've got an understanding there, so I'm not going to go through the whole report. What I will say is this is years and years of work that has gone into this local plan. The body of evidence there is from all our consultees, whether they are different stakeholders, and therefore it's a very comprehensive piece of evidence that we're now moving forward for our final consultation. I think it's really important that we can see that tonight what we're asking the Cabinet to do is not approve or disapprove of the actual plan itself, rather the ability to take that evidence base forward and go out to consultation. And that evidence base is robust and it's a full evidence base in terms of the things that we're asked to do in terms of legislation, but also what we would want to do and what we want to see as best practice for this borough. What I would say is that ultimately we need a local plan that is well planned, that provides the homes that we're asked to provide, that enables us to ensure that we have those employment opportunities and the employment land that we need, whilst protecting as much of our green spaces as possible, and ensuring that it's a well thought out plan, and that by working with our colleagues at Essex County Council, that with each home, the infrastructure needed for that home in order to build it a community is fully there. And that is what this whole plan comes together. It has all those enclosures that go through and enable us to see what evidence base we've used to come to the conclusions we have for each of our site allocations and what that looks like. I'd like to start by asking Councillor Barnes if you've got any questions.
Thank you, Chairman. 3 questions from me, if I may. The first one was just on the overall number of homes. So I can see that originally we had a target set of 26,909. That appears to have increased up to 29,746, although it could be around just over 28,000 is the other figure that's sort of mentioned. I just wondered why that was. My second question was on the windfall allowance, and in the April 2025 report that mentions a total of 1,890 homes over the course of the local plan, so effectively 99 per year. But In this report, that's already been reduced to 378, so 19 per year. So I just wondered what the reason for that was. There was one further question, if that's all right. Yeah, which was, I'm a Billericay councillor. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Billericay. 25% of the Greenbelt in Billericay goes in this proposal. 35% of the new homes go into Billericay. What provisions are there in order to sort of reassure Billericay residents that they aren't going to become, joined in urban sprawl with Noakbridge and Steeple View? And is it the case that effectively with the grey belt policy, the green belt as a concept in Basildon Borough is dead really until this plan is put into place?
I think we should probably tackle the Greenbelt question first. Lisa, you were the best person to take Greenbelt question? Yes? No?
She hasn't got a mic.
Oh.
I didn't quite catch what the last bit of
Oh.
Need to give her a mic.
It was basically with the obviously the grey belt and the fact that the developments are being treated as grey belt land. Is green belt as a concept effectively dead until we get this local plan into place? Because there doesn't appear to be any sort of green belt protection at this present moment in time, given what the planning committee is passing as well.
That isn't so. What I would say, Councillor Barnes, whilst we're getting Lisa's mic sorted out, is that the Greenbelt policy is still there. The Greenbelt study has been completed. That is available for you to look at and see how we've categorised through the consultation period that we've had and through that robust evidence base. A piece of land does not become grey belt until it comes before a planning application. So a piece of Greenbelt land is still a piece of Greenbelt land. Whether or not that Greenbelt land meets all the categories of Greenbelt in a robust way is what the Greenbelt study looks at, and therefore whether it's weak, strong in its different areas will determine whether or not that, combined with the golden rules, means it is a grey belt piece of land. But that does not change until it comes before planning. But I'll hand you over to Lisa. Thank you.
Thank you. Firstly, no, Greenbelt it still exists, and Greenbelt review has now been published. The most recent one under the current legislation, including grey belt assessments. One of the things we need from this local plan is to really shore up that we plan where we're looking to release Greenbelt. We are in a position that in order to meet our housing needs, we do have to look at releasing some Greenbelt. And this plan lets us look at it as a whole and look at releasing the least valuable pieces of Greenbelt. So that's what we believe we've set out, supported by a Greenbelt review, and that's what we're hoping to go out to consultation on at this time.
Thank you. Michael, are you the best placed to talk about the windfall?
Well,
and the number? Oh, yeah.
Also
Okay, thank you.
Okay, yeah. Given the age of our local plan, obviously it was adopted in 1998, windfall development is anything that comes forward on a site that isn't identified in the plan. So naturally, given the age of our plan, the sites that were identified pretty much been built out. So Basildon has had very much dependency on windfall allowance over the last few years. What we have been looking at now is where those windfall sites typically come forward, and we're trying to secure as many of them now is identified as planned sites, so we're not less reliant on windfall development through the local plan. So, for example, they might come through in the Plotlands areas where we get infill development, they come through on brownfield sites. These will now all be captured and planned for in the local plan. Windfall will, over the 20 years of the plan, some sites will come forward as windfall because things change. Sites change their ownership, they change their use. So we now have a much smaller windfall allowance because we're only expecting that to come forward towards the end of the plan period, where we're less certain about what sites will be available. So we're only at the moment applying a windfall allowance to from year 2040. And hence the difference. Those numbers have been absorbed into planned sites for development. And then I think the final question was about the number of homes provided. So our current minimum number of homes using our standard method figure is 26,909 over the plan period 2023 to 2043. At the moment, the plan makes provision for around 20, the plan as we're looking to go out to consultation at the maximum development we believe is achievable would be around 28,250 homes. The reason we look at delivering land for more than the minimum number is over the 20 years of the plan period, some sites may end up delivering fewer homes, some sites may cease to become available, particularly if they change ownership. So we need to provide for a buffer to ensure that the minimum number, which is our 26,909, is delivered over the whole of the plan period. And it also offers some choice. So we are looking at this consultation stage. As we move on, we may decide some of these potential allocations actually can't deliver the whole number we're looking at now. Some might be able to increase as we progress through with our evidence base. Does that help with the question? Thank you.
Does that fully answer your question, Councillor Barnes? Is there anything else that you wanted to ask? No? What I would say, I would point out, obviously Greenbelt is always a concern, particularly for some of your residents, Councillor Barnes. What I would point out is that this plan substantially protects more Greenbelt than the withdrawn plan from 2021, so I think that's something of note. Councillors, do you have any questions? Councillor Ferguson.
Thank you, Chair. Not necessarily a question, more of a kind of point of direction of travel with the local plan. That just to echo your comments earlier on tonight, that what we're endorsing tonight is the principle of the consultation to go out and consult with residents on the basis of the evidence base in front of us. There is also the further opportunity through going to full council around this. I'd also just like to kind of take this opportunity to kind of also share that the principle of the local plan that we're voting on and we're going out to consultation on will understandably focus a lot on the homes being built. But what it will also address is the infrastructure needs, the job opportunities that this creates, and also within my own portfolio of culture, sport, children and young people, opportunities for sports facilities across the borough. And something I've certainly championed and have the support of other cabinet members around increasing sports provision for individuals, and having a local plan enables us to have something to be able to work towards to address some of the lack of facilities that we have across the borough. And I'll speak more about that as the plan progress, as the plan develops. But I think I think we all as councillors need to be reminded that there is far more that we're considering when we're talking about the local plan than just the houses and the numbers in themselves. While I appreciate that will be an area of focus, there is greater opportunities as well. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Ferguson. I think it's really important that we recognise that this is about asking all our residents, all our stakeholders, our businesses, our developers, everyone across the borough, and also people who surround our borough, to have their say in what this future looks like. We know we need more homes. We know we need more employment opportunities. We know we need more infrastructure. What this enables our residents to do, and other stakeholders, is have their say, positive, negative, all their thoughts. And so I'd really encourage you as councillors to engage with your residents and make sure that they understand how they can engage. Obviously, it's going to be on the online platform predominantly, but we're also having face-to-face. We're having question and answer sessions in all 6 of our area committee regions, and therefore people are going to be really able to get involved in this process and have their say about the way in which they want this borough to grow. Because this borough does need to grow. Let's be clear, we need more homes, we need more employment land, we need more infrastructure, and that's what this local plan does. Councillor Smith.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. How many years has been spent writing a local plan, and it's been it's been binned? There's some bits I'm not exactly over the moon with, but if you don't have a local plan, expect trouble. When we had this vote in March 22 of full council, when some brainiacs thought the way you protect Greenbelt and Billericay is you don't have a local plan. And it's been proved consistently that not having a local plan in Billericay is like Christmas for developers. Langdon was safe from development with Dunton Garden suburbs, but that local plan was binned, and the evidence is there. We've been told to do more houses, and a part of that is on the table. But even so, if we don't have a local plan, as we saw in other authorities, such as one south of us across the Thames, which thought it was clever rejecting a sound planning application, the Minister of State intervened, granted planning permission, took away planning powers. The days are gone where we can stick our fingers in the air and go la 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 are over. When the previous local plan was binned in March 22, the then Secretary of State wrote to this council and said he was minded to appoint Essex County Council to write a local plan. Thank God that never happened. When you look at the state of our roads and pavement, could you imagine them clowns being left in charge to write a local plan? This is not a perfect process, but it's like being ill as a child. You have to take your medicine, because if you don't, it gets a whole lot worse, which we have seen by not having a local plan. So let's hope this is wrapped up, this is done, so our officers, taxpayers' resources can go into something not more important, but this is like a broken record that keeps getting done, and someone bins it because they think it's going to stop a few yards of Billericay being built on, and they end up getting built on. So let's just wrap this up and get this done.
Thank you, Councillor Smith. I think it's clear from the body of evidence that is there for the public to see that we are doing this with ambition, but also with responsibility. And with that, I think we should go to the recommendations. There are 4 recommendations. I'm going to take them on block. All those in favour? Thank you, councillors. We're now moving on to item agenda 8, which is for noting, and that is our budgeting monitoring from 2025-2026 Q2. The recommendation is that this is noted. I just want to point out a couple of things in there. You can see that the debt is moving in the right direction. That has been reduced by 700,000. We don't know yet fully what our money from central government is going to be. However, we are. Oh, thank you. Good night. Thank you for being here. But obviously, the way in which we're looking at this, Tina and her team have been looking at to reduce the debt as much as possible and to ensure that we are moving in the right direction towards that balanced budget. And that's all I want to say to start with. Councillor Barnes, do you have some questions on this for our finance team? Thank you.
I'm conscious the cabinet member isn't here, so I'll keep it to I'll keep it brief. Just
That's why I've got Tina here tonight.
Okay. All right. Well,
can
I mean,
answer all
I
your
just had a single question really, which was just around the renters' rights bill, and obviously the report mentions that it's led to a significant increase in Section 21s. It's probably more a question really for the administration rather than the officer. But do you feel that the renters' right bill potentially has had unintended consequences in the sense that it could backfire and actually increase local authority costs? And do you think that the government may need to think again on that?
I think that's an unknown at the moment, if I'm perfectly frank. And therefore, that is why we're looking at what the implications for us. But obviously, it's important, whatever implications it has for local government, that we're aware of those implications and how we're going to pay for them, what that looks like. But ultimately, people who rent homes deserve decent homes and deserve rights. And that's what this is about. I think it's a political question for a different day, as opposed to our budget questions. But yes, it will have financial implications. The full extent of that is what the teams are working on. And you can see that reflected in the report. Did you have any other questions, Councillor Barnes? No? Any councillors have any cabinet members' questions for Tina? Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to pick up on a point raised by the Leader of the Opposition, Councillor Barnes. When we took this council back over in May 2024, the Prime Minister was Rishi Sunak, and our temporary accommodation was through the roof. It wasn't Rishi's fault. It had a clown called Liz Sunak who thought money markets work like kids' toys. And as a result, interest rates went through the roof. Landlords who was expecting a period of fixed mortgages turfed their tenants out. Equally, at the time, and it's still the case, there are 2 levels of housing benefit rates, London and outer London, and private landlords, when they're facing increased costs, if they can increase the rent, they will. So I appreciate the point the Leader of the Opposition's made about the Renters' Rights Bill, but these problems never occurred pre-renters' rights bill. I mean, they occurred with pre-renters' rights bill, so that's not quite fair. And this administration has taken steps, as you've seen, to not only secure property for temporary accommodation, but to stop all other authorities acquiring sites in Wickford and Billericay, another place in the borough. We've got Chapelgate, which sat there for 3 years doing nothing. I think the only thing that happened there was deciding whether to name after characters from Coronation Street or not. We come in, we secured the grant from Homes England, and anytime soon people can start view to buy them. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Thank you. Any other Cabinet members? Well, with that, what I would say is that it's really important that we note a few things from this. That we acknowledge that the overall spend position has improved by 700,000, which is really significant, and thank you for all the work that's gone into that. The debt is coming down. We continue to pursue a programme of further asset disposals, which is obviously going to impact on this and further improve the position. I'd also say that when we think about our general fund and our HRA, we can see that it's sustainable, it's resilient and it's well managed, and that's really important to note when we're thinking about the assurance and the risk involved in this quarter report. And I would really sort of overemphasise as well the engagement that we have with central government in terms of ensuring that any monies available to us are, and that we have those frank and open conversations. That's much easier to do when you're a party that is the same party as a party in government, and can assure you that the leader is regularly having those conversations, in particular how that affects our homeless budgets, our TA and our HRA funds. With that, I will take it to the recommendation, which is to note. We still need to vote, Annie? Yeah. All those in favour of the recommendation? Thank you. We're now moving on to item 9. So I just need to turn my page over again, because it's me all evening, I'm afraid, guys. Okay. Sorry, I've turned this over and I've now lost my front page. Right, item 9 is our revenues and benefits debt policy. What you can see from this is it's a policy that shows compassion, but is also robust and is also constantly in mind of how we treat our residents, but also how we ensure that we're being fiscally responsible to this council. Councillor Barnes, do you have any questions?
Yeah, it's probably more of a general point. The only thing I mean, at the end of the day, this is a document that would be in the hands of any administration of any political type, but the one thing that I did notice was that there seems to be quite a very robust policy for pursuing smaller debtors. So, you know, we talk about full enforcement, applying for court costs, liability orders, bailiffs, attachment of earnings, even as far as bankruptcy. And there's no requirement to sort of assess vulnerability either before we kind of go down those pathways. For most debt types, that is, admittedly not for rent arrears. With corporate debtors, it seems that the process it escalates less quickly, and I just wondered why that was and whether that needed to be adjusted.
What I would say, Councillor Barnes, is that with all of these things, our teams are very experienced in talking to people when they come to them, and they're also experienced in looking for where problems are going to arise and what that can look like. And so therefore it is an escalation, but it's an escalation that is done with compassion, but is also done within the law and within our policies, which is really important, that everyone is treated fairly and that it is a robust, open policy that you can see. But I'll bring in Tina. Thank you.
I was just going to add, this policy is a culmination of, we used to have two previously policy with the housing and the corporate, and now we've amalgamated the team. So it's about bringing it all together, try and get consistency where possible, but also try and get efficiencies in terms of our processes. So this will be a learning piece as well. This is the first stage.
Cabinet members, do any of you have any questions? No, Councillor Barnes, nothing else? Okay, well with that then I will take it to the recommendations. All those in favour? Thank you. We'll now move on to item 10. is our Revs and Bens discretionary policy. Sorry. And again, this is Tina. Councillor Barnes, do you have any questions regarding this? No questions at all? Cabinet members, any questions? No? Well, with that, I will take it to the recommendations then. All those in favour? Thank you. We'll now move on to item agenda 11, which is Integrated Information Management and Data Protection Policy. I think this is pretty self-explanatory. In terms of the recommendations, looking at ensuring that we understand how we integrate our information, but also that we have those robust data protection rules and regulations around that. Councillor Barnes, do you have any questions? No? Cabinet members, do you have any questions on this policy? Okay, with that, then I'll go to the recommendations. All those in favour? Thank you. We now move on to item agenda 12, which is to vote for the exclusion of the press and public, so we can go into part 2. All those in favour? Thank you. And we'll now move into part 2. Thank you.